Las Vegas still looks unstoppable from the outside, but locals know the truth. Behind the flashing neon, families are quietly leaving in record numbers, warning that the city no longer works for the people who built it. Once an affordable desert escape, it has become a corporate playground where residents struggle with soaring costs, shrinking schools, and even questions about whether there will be enough water to survive. The dream of making it big has flipped into a fight just to hold on. Today, we count down the 9 biggest reasons longtime Las Vegas residents are walking away and why it might only be the beginning. Number 9, water is running out. Lake Mead sits at its lowest levels since the 1930s, and Las Vegas locals know what that means for their future. The reservoir dropped 143 feet since 2000, leaving a white bathtub ring visible from space that locals call the Ring of Shame. While city officials promote impressive conservation statistics, residents see through the spin to the harsh reality underneath. The numbers tell the real story. Nevada faces a 25% cut in Colorado River water by 2026. That means 40,000 acre-feet less water annually for a region adding 50,000 new residents each year. The mathematics make longtime locals like Henderson teacher Maria Santos question their future here. "We moved here 15 years ago thinking this was our forever home," Santos explains while replacing her front lawn with rocks. "Now I'm teaching my kids about water conservation while watching new casinos build million-gallon fountains. It doesn't add up. Property values may rise today, but locals worry about tomorrow. When Phoenix faces similar water cuts, home values in affected areas dropped 15% within 2 years. Las Vegas families watch these trends nervously while calculating whether to sell now or risk being trapped in a waterless desert city. Meanwhile, the Strip continues operating massive fountains and water features that use 8 million gallons daily. But water isn't the only thing disappearing. Entire neighborhoods are being hollowed out by something else. Number 8, short-term rentals everywhere. Entire Las Vegas neighborhoods have been hollowed out by investors converting homes into Airbnb properties that destroy the community fabric locals spent years building. The statistics reveal the scope. 37% of home purchases in Clark County now go to investors rather than families, with most converted to short-term rentals. Jennifer Chen watched her Spring Valley neighborhood transform within 3 years. 8 houses on my block became vacation rentals, she explains, while loading boxes into a moving truck. Kids stopped playing outside because strangers were always coming and going. It felt unsafe and unwelcoming. Local families find themselves priced out as property values surge beyond their reach. The median home price jumped from $250,000 to $485,000 in 5 years, while median household income remains stuck at $75,000. The gap makes homeownership mathematically impossible for teachers, casino workers, and service employees. Rental housing becomes increasingly scarce and expensive as landlords discover vacation rental profits. Working families face impossible choices between paying doubled rents or leaving Las Vegas entirely. Construction worker David Martinez moved his family to Phoenix after his rent jumped from $1,400 to $2,800 in 1 year. Quality of life deteriorates for remaining residents who endure constant disruptions from partying visitors. Las Vegas Metro Police report noise complaints increased 60% in residential areas with high short-term rental concentration. Parking becomes impossible when multiple cars rotate through properties designed for single families. And when families do stay, they face another crisis that hits their children first. Number 7, schools in crisis. Clark County School District serves over 300,000 students across a region where education funding ranks among the nation's lowest, creating classroom conditions that drive families away from Las Vegas faster than any other single factor. The district spends $7,000 per pupil annually, compared to $12,000 in neighboring Utah. The numbers tell a devastating story. Class sizes average 38 students per teacher, nearly double the recommended ratio. Teacher turnover hits 22% annually, meaning 1 in 5 educators leaves every year. Substitute teachers fill permanent positions for weeks at a time because qualified candidates cannot afford to live on starting rek saraf al rayan havs for areas or furias restaff for $39,000. So parent Rebecca Liu discovered the reality when visiting her daughter's overcrowded high school. 42 kids crammed into a classroom with outdated textbooks and broken air conditioning, she recalls. The teacher looked exhausted. I realized we were failing our children by staying here. Safety concerns escalate as overcrowded schools struggle with violence and behavioral problems. Clark County schools report 15 weapon incidents monthly on average. Parents receive emergency alerts about lockdowns and security threats that make education feel dangerous rather than nurturing. Geographic inequality creates additional barriers as excellent schools concentrate in expensive neighborhoods where homes cost $600,000 or more. Working families get systematically excluded from quality education zones, then face crushing debt or substandard schooling choices. Private school alternatives cost $15,000 to $25,000 annually per child. Accountant Mike Torres calculated the math: $50,000 yearly tuition for 2 children plus $4,000 monthly mortgage payments exceeded his entire take-home pay. His family relocated to North Carolina, where public schools rank 15th nationally. Many families conclude that relocating costs less than staying. The brain drain accelerates as educated parents remove their children from failing systems, taking community involvement and advocacy with them. But education isn't the only system cracking. The next one is stretched to the breaking point. Number 6, healthcare strain. Las Vegas locals face a healthcare crisis that makes basic medical care increasingly difficult to access as the region's rapid population growth far outpaces medical infrastructure development. The area has 130 primary care physicians per 100,000 residents compared to the national average of 220. Dr. Sarah Kim exemplifies the shortage. Her family practice carries 4,000 patients, double the recommended load. I'm scheduling routine checkups 8 weeks out, she explains. Specialists are booking 3 to 4 months ahead. We're rationing healthcare in one of America's fastest growing cities. Emergency rooms operate at capacity constantly, turning routine urgent care into hours-long ordeals. University Medical Center averages 6-hour wait times for non-emergency cases. Locals avoid emergency departments except for life-threatening conditions because delays stretch beyond reasonable limits. Healthcare costs reflect the supply-demand imbalance as limited providers charge premium rates. A typical family physical exam costs $250 compared to $150 in properly served communities. Insurance networks offer fewer choices, forcing patients toward more expensive out-of-network care. Mental health services remain particularly scarce. The region has 40 psychiatrists per 100,000 residents, compared to the national average of 85. Addiction treatment programs maintain 6-month waiting lists while the city struggles with substance abuse problems affecting tourism workers. Pregnant women face particular challenges finding obstetric care. Jennifer Walsh searched 2 months for an obstetrician willing to accept new patients. I was 6 months pregnant before finding prenatal care, she recalls. We're moving to Colorado before our second child because we can't risk going through this again. Young families increasingly choose relocation over risking inadequate medical care. Software engineer James Chen moved to Austin after calculating that childcare plus healthcare costs in Las Vegas exceeded his mortgage payment in Texas. And the problems extend beyond hospitals. Daily life itself is breaking down under weak infrastructure. Number 5, infrastructure neglect. Las Vegas infrastructure was designed for tourists, not the residents who actually live there year-round, creating daily frustrations that make locals feel like second-class citizens in their own city. The Regional Transportation Commission spends 60% of its budget on tourist corridor improvements while residential areas deteriorate. Traffic management prioritizes strip access over neighborhood connectivity. The average Las Vegas commute stretches 32 minutes compared to 24 minutes nationally, despite lower population density. Construction worker Tony Martinez spends 14 hours weekly trapped in traffic between his Summerlin home and downtown job sites. Public transportation remains embarrassingly inadequate for a metropolitan area of 2.4 million people. The bus system operates 37 routes compared to 150 in similarly sized cities. Light rail development stalled for 20 years, while Phoenix, Denver, and Salt Lake City built comprehensive networks. Residential neighborhoods suffer from deferred maintenance as city budgets prioritize tourist-facing projects. Potholes remain unfilled for 6 months while the Strip receives daily maintenance attention. Street lighting failures average 45 days for repair in residential areas, compared to 4 hours in entertainment districts. Water infrastructure shows dangerous strain from rapid development. Residents experience water pressure drops during peak usage, while new developments connect to systems operating beyond capacity. Northeast Las Vegas resident Patricia Williams reports brown water flowing from taps during summer afternoons when demand peaks. Flood control systems designed for occasional desert storms cannot handle increased rainfall intensity from climate change. The August 2021 floods caused $200 million in residential damage, while tourist areas remain protected by superior drainage systems. Internet infrastructure varies dramatically between tourist and residential areas. Casino districts receive gigabit fiber connections, while many neighborhoods struggle with unreliable cable internet that fails during peak usage. Remote worker Lisa Chang relocated to Denver after losing 3 job opportunities due to connectivity problems during video interviews. Cracked roads are one thing, but locals say their biggest fear comes from something more immediate. Number 4, crime concerns. Las Vegas locals live with crime rates that exceed national averages, while police resources focus heavily on tourist protection, leaving residential neighborhoods feeling abandoned by law enforcement. The city allocates 45% of police resources to the Strip corridor, while residential areas struggle with inadequate coverage. Property crime affects residents disproportionately, with residential burglary rates 30% above national averages. Car thefts increased 60% in residential areas over 3 years, while remaining stable in tourist zones. Henderson mother Amanda Rodriguez installed security cameras after her neighborhood experienced 12 break-ins within 6 months. Response times vary dramatically between Strip locations and residential neighborhoods. Tourist emergencies average 4-minute response times, while residential calls stretch to 18 minutes. The resource allocation reflects city priorities that favor visitor protection over resident safety. Drug-related crime concentrates in residential areas as dealers get pushed away from tourist zones, but remain active in communities where locals must navigate the resulting violence. Elementary schools in affected neighborhoods report drug paraphernalia on playgrounds, while tourist areas remain sanitized through concentrated enforcement. Violent crime statistics place Las Vegas among more dangerous American cities, with assault rates 40% above national averages. Robbery rates exceed comparable metropolitan areas by 50%. Residents know these realities through personal experience, while tourism marketing promotes safety messages. Nurse practitioner Maria Santos moved her family to Utah after her teenager son witnessed a shooting outside their local grocery store. "We came to Las Vegas for opportunity, but found ourselves prisoners in our own neighborhood," she explains. Safety became more important than careers. Community policing programs receive minimal funding compared to tourist safety initiatives. Residential beat officers cover territories 3 times larger than recommended, reducing opportunities for relationship building that prevents crime through local knowledge and prevention strategies. Yet safety is only part of the story. Number 3, vanishing neighborhoods. Historic Las Vegas. Neighborhoods that gave the city character and identity are being systematically demolished to make way for corporate developments that erase community history and displace longtime residents. The city approved demolition permits for 47 historic buildings in 2024 alone, with no preservation requirements. Downtown areas where locals lived and gathered for generations disappear under wrecking balls. The Arts District lost 60% of its original architecture in 5 years, as property values increased from $50 per square foot to $300. Family businesses that operated for decades cannot afford new rents. Longtime resident Eleanor Martinez watched her childhood neighborhood vanish. "The corner store where I bought candy for 50 years got torn down for luxury condos," she says, while packing to move to Phoenix. "Nothing feels familiar anymore. It's like living in a place that doesn't want you." Gentrification displaces working families who can no longer afford property taxes that tripled in 5 years. Communities that welcome teachers and casino workers become exclusive enclaves where only tech professionals can survive financially. The economic diversity that created authentic neighborhoods disappears along with affordability. Zoning changes prioritize commercial development over residential community needs. Mixed-use neighborhoods become sterile business districts that empty after work hours. Local families lose walkable communities, forcing car-dependent lifestyles that isolate residents from connections. Architectural character gets sacrificed for generic development that could exist anywhere. Adobe styles and mid-century modern design that reflected regional identity get replaced by corporate architecture that prioritizes efficiency over character. The unique desert aesthetic disappears under suburban sprawl. Historic preservation receives minimal protection as planning departments approve demolitions for buildings representing Las Vegas cultural heritage. The Huntridge Theater, a 1944 landmark, sits abandoned while developers plan demolition for chain restaurants. The psychological impact devastates elderly residents who watch decades of community building get erased by corporate decisions. Children lose neighborhood stability while parents struggle to maintain family traditions when familiar gathering places vanish permanently. Casino executive Patricia Wong exemplifies the displacement. After 20 years building community connections in her downtown neighborhood, rising property taxes forced her move to Henderson. "I helped build this city's character, but it no longer wants people like me," she reflects. And it's not just homes being replaced. Local businesses are being swallowed whole by corporate Vegas. Number 2, corporate Vegas swallowing local life independent businesses that gave Las Vegas neighborhoods their personality are disappearing as corporate chains systematically eliminate local competition through economic pressure and development policies favoring large-scale operations. Local business licenses dropped 30% over 5 years, while chain establishments increased 60%. Family restaurants and independent shops that locals depended on for generations close permanently when they cannot afford rents driven by corporate real estate speculation. Giuseppe's Italian restaurant served the community for 28 years before rent increased from $4,000 to $18,000 monthly, forcing closure for a Starbucks. Restaurant owner Maria Gonzalez closed her Mexican cafe after fighting corporate competition. "We knew every customer's name and their families," she explains. "But we couldn't compete with chains that get volume discounts and corporate marketing budgets. It broke my heart to give up after 15 years. Casino corporations expand beyond the Strip to dominate neighborhood commercial areas, pushing out local businesses through financial competition small operators cannot match. Corporate gambling venues replace community gathering places where locals once socialized without tourist-oriented pressure. Employment opportunities concentrate in corporate hospitality industries, offering limited advancement for residents wanting long-term careers without depending on tourist spending. Fluctuations. Local entrepreneurs find it increasingly difficult to start businesses competing with corporate operations backed by massive capital. Corporate retail chains displace locally owned stores that provided unique products tailored to community needs rather than mass market demographics. Shopping areas become identical to suburban developments anywhere, eliminating distinctive character that made neighborhoods worth preserving. Arts and culture venues struggle as corporate entertainment dominates with branded experiences designed for tourist consumption rather than community development. Local musicians and performers find fewer opportunities developing careers, serving community audiences who supported regional traditions. Banking and professional services consolidate under corporate ownership, prioritizing efficiency over community relationships. Residents lose access to local professionals who understood regional needs and provided personalized service based on long-term community investment. The transformation creates sterile corporate landscapes where authentic local culture cannot survive. Accountant David Kim relocated to Phoenix after his neighborhood commercial district became indistinguishable from any American suburb. "We lost everything that made Las Vegas feel like home," he concludes. All of these losses lead to the final, most painful truth. Number 1 are the city feels soulless. Las Vegas locals are leaving because their city has lost its soul. Transformed from a quirky desert community where anyone could make it into a corporate theme park that prioritizes tourist profits over resident quality of life. The authentic character that attracted people to build lives in the desert has been systematically eliminated by executives who treat community as overhead expense. The survey data reveals the shift. 78% of longtime residents report feeling disconnected from their city, compared to 35% 5 years ago. Community satisfaction ratings dropped from 68% to 32% as corporate development replaced local character. Local hangouts where residents gathered to socialize and build relationships have been replaced by tourist venues that treat locals like unwelcome intruders. The Huntridge Tavern, where 3 generations of families October celebrated milestones, became a corporate sports bar with tourist pricing that excludes longtime customers. Now it feels like a place where only corporations succeed while regular people get priced out and forgotten. Residents feel like strangers in their own city as every interaction becomes transactional rather than relational. Customer service replaces neighborly assistance as the dominant social model. Personal connections that sustained communities through difficult times cannot develop when corporate policies prioritize operational efficiency over human relationships. Cultural diversity that once made neighborhoods vibrant gets homogenized through corporate standardization, eliminating local variations for mass market appeal. The authentic ethnic communities and distinctive customs that gave different neighborhoods character disappear under development, prioritizing bland accessibility. Even the landscape feels artificial as natural desert beauty gets replaced by corporate aesthetics, designed to maximize property values rather than preserve regional character. The stark beauty that drew people to the desert gets buried under developments that could exist anywhere. The spiritual emptiness extends beyond physical changes to affect how residents interact with their environment and each other. Spontaneous community celebrations and informal gatherings that defined neighborhood life cannot survive in spaces designed for maximum commercial efficiency. The sense of possibility that made Las Vegas legendary has been replaced by predictable corporate programming. And factory worker Miguel Torres moved his family to Phoenix after 15 years in Las Vegas. "We came here to chase the American dream," he explains. "But the dream got bought out by corporations that turned our home into their profit center. We're not customers in our own city anymore." The Las Vegas locals are fleeing represents more than individual relocation decisions. It signals the death of a community that once welcomed dreamers, entrepreneurs, and working families seeking opportunity in the desert. Corporate executives who prioritize short-term extraction over long-term community development have destroyed the qualities that made Las Vegas worth living in. Clark County gained only 18,000 residents in 2024 compared to 50,000 annually in previous decades. For every new arrival, nearly one longtime resident departed. Without locals preserving community character, Las Vegas risks becoming nothing more than an expensive theme park for tourists and corporations.